It's going to be a very special day. I kid you not. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining. They call me Elder Andel, and I am going to do a special broadcast today. And as you guys know, when you see me on a broadcast like this, you know I do not come alone. I come with tons of friends. Today, I have been outvoted. I asked the young people that you're going to see on the screen very soon. I said, do you guys need me to be with you on this very important topic? And I said, a show of hands who wants me to remain. And not one hand was thrown up, and I was really hurt about that. But having said that, ladies and gentlemen, our topic today, well, no, the thumbnail says out of the mouth of babes, but they're not really babes. They're young men and young women that have been assembled because they're super pumped and super excited to share their views with you. They want to share how they think about them being as Israelites. They want to share with you their joy and their happiness about them loving the God of Israel. They want to share their aspirations with you in that they want to learn as much of the laws, the statutes, and commandments. So when they become real adults and have families, they can pass this beautiful culture on to their children and their children's children. So I think I'm about ready to start bringing them on one by one. Let's do this. There they are. So because I've been outvoted and they don't want me to hang around, I'm going to go off stage and do all the technical stuff. But before I do that, if you got questions, guys, I'll be watching the boards. If you got questions for this panel, I want you guys to be super engaged. I want you to ask them some questions. You've not seen the young people like this take 2 hours of a stream on your Saturday. Share and like this video. We want to get hundreds and hundreds of people to hear them. You've come all the way to hear Shira from the UK. I know you have. You've come all the way to hear Jedidah from the US. I know you have. And you came all the way to hear from Jesse and Hosea. I'm missing one more person, but last but not least, there is my man Issachar, Jose, and Jesse and Tamar from headquarters in Toronto. That being said, Tamar is going to be your host. So that means peace and see you guys later.
Peace and welcome, brethren and guests. Today you are truly in for a treat. My name is Tamar, and I am from the Toronto branch, and I will be hosting this lively discussion today for you all. So I have a bunch of friends who are truly knowledgeable. These are youth who were born and raised in the Israelite nation. We have Jesse, Shira, Issachar, Hosea, Jedidah. These are youth from the US to Canada, all the way to Atlanta. We are Israelites. But we know that as youth, we are surrounded by pagan rituals. We are surrounded by holidays that we do not celebrate, such as Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, Easter. So, being at this young age, how do we not conform to what is around us? We go to school, we have lives. How do we not conform? How do we stand firm in our truth? How do we keep faith in the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob? So today you'll be able to pick our brains. So feel free to be very active in the chat. Feel free to ask us questions. We'll surely answer them if we have the time. But you guys are truly in for a treat, and I will be passing it on to my friends. So guys, tell me, how are you guys today? Update the broadcast on your lives. Speak.
Peace, everyone. How's everyone doing today? How's the storm, by the way, too?
It's
Good.
going good, man. It's going good. About the storm, it's a little windy, a little cold. Really hit me last night, but we're doing good. Yeah, excited to do this. I like how everybody's here. Love the fires in the chat.
I
How
want to
about
know, are
you,
you
Jose?
guys on holiday break yet, or are you guys still in school?
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
already on
Holiday break?
holiday.
break.
Wow, that's
We're still in
awesome.
school. It's very windy. Last night that was something. There's a lot of brilliant minds here today, especially some young people. like Shira and Jedidah. I'm very
Mhm.
happy to be here, and I can't wait to begin.
Wow, that's awesome. Shira, Jedidah, do you want to update us on your lives? How's
Um,
school
I'm
going? How's the weather?
I'm very happy to be here. I'm excited. A little bit nervous, but
Don't worry.
the weather has been quite cold and windy, but it's okay.
Jedidah, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great. Kind of the same. The weather's just windy and very cold.
Yeah. Well, I know down here a bunch of people have lost their power. This storm has actually been really bad for them. So I hope that all the viewers that are watching the broadcast today, I hope that you guys are safe if you guys were hit from the storm. And I hope you guys are doing well. But now I know that the storm is off, well, in Toronto area, that the weather has calmed
Going on.
down. So that's a plus. Right now, I know that I just finished exams, so I'm on holiday break right with you guys. But that's all that we can update with you guys on today. So we're gonna get into some juicy scriptures. You guys are in for a true treat. We'll be talking about Jeremiah 10, Proverbs 3. So let's get into the scriptures. So if we can all turn our Bibles to Jeremiah 10, I'll start from verse 1.
All right.
Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. So what does that mean to you guys?
Well, for me, for starters, from what I'm hearing is that the heathens, they can't do what we can do, and so they're jealous at it, dismayed, if you will, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Lord is speaking unto us, the house of Israel, specifically
100%.
us, not the heathens. That's what I'm seeing in the first
Yes.
two verses right now.
Yeah, that's great. Ishikar, any ideas? How did
No,
this
I'm
impact
just,
you?
I'm just really
What?
shocked what Jesse said. Loved it.
Yeah.
Right on point.
Hosea?
Same thing. Jesse, really well spoken. Specifically speaking to us, not the heathen. They can do whatever they want as long as we are not learning from them. Then we're good. We're serving our God. We know what to do, and that's what matters.
100%. Jedidah, Shira, what did you get from these two verses?
I just got don't be the heathens, don't follow in their path, walk in the true and right way.
Shira?
For me, this means not to follow the ways of the heathens, and we just need to stay on the right path and teach the world about our religion.
100%. Just like you guys are doing here with me today. Another question that I would ask you guys is, how do we refrain from following the ways of the heathen? What advice could you give viewers?
Um, I would say not to follow the ways of the heathen because I'm
How?
in the
What are the
nation.
tools?
I keep my spirit healthy by reading my Bible every night, praying to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, keeping me healthy. He's keeping me warm and protected in a house with food and loving family. So yeah, you know.
To me, it just kind of means what you could do is just knowing that they want to be like you and stuff.
Yes. 100%. Jesse?
For me, it's how I deal with all these distractions is to always stay on the straight, narrow path and follow the God of Israel and not branch off by their influences, as well as their distractions as well and all the other heathen things that they do.
Shira?
I agree. I just think that reading the Bible helps, and as Issachar said, even praying to the God of Israel to help keep you on the straight and narrow path.
100%. You guys are hearing from the mouth of babes. They are saying, read your Bible, educate yourself. They are saying prayer, put the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob always at the forefront of your life. So this is wisdom, guys. At this young age, you're being hit with wisdom. So once again, from verse 1, it is key to note that the Lord is speaking unto the house of Israel. He is not speaking to the world. but he's talking to the Israelites, his children. And he is saying that the heathen are dismayed at the signs of heaven, meaning they're enlightened and at awe of astrology and what God can create. And we know that today that the heathen are worshiping the sun, worshiping the moon, worshiping the stars, worshiping graven images. They are in awe. They are trying to see if life can be created on the moon. They're creating rockets and spaceships to go to Jupiter and Mars to see if we can survive there once the earth has ended. They are trying to predict the day that the earth will end. We know that they are completely in awe and are trying to replicate that, but could never replicate that. We know that the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has all the tools. He has equipped this earth with everything that we need to survive. He has honestly fabricated this entire thing to cater to us. You
Yes.
cannot create life outside of the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac and the God of Jacob. You cannot try to, they create vaccines to see how the body will react. They release viruses to see how the body will react. They try to produce life. They
Mhm.
try to be God. They are in awe of what God does, and they try to be that, but they
And
can
it's,
never.
and
And
right, sorry, you can go, Jedidah.
they also like worship the sun and the stars and things.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
You could also use when they're trying to build a tower to heaven, and the Lord broke it down. See,
100%.
no matter, and it just explains no matter how close they get, they'll never get there. Never get there.
Mm-hmm. The
Great
stuff
point.
they're trying to do, they're trying to replicate the stuff that the God of Israel can do, which is witchcraft. Like
Yes.
they figure out all sorts of these things, or magic, if you will. But what it really is witchcraft, like what you just said, like trying to recreate this, worshiping this, all of that stuff. And they still do it to this day.
Mhm.
Great point. That is a very great point, guys. We know that we are not supposed to be all wrapped up in awe about the signs of heaven because we know there's no value in worshiping that. We know there's no value in serving that. They worship that because they believe that there's value in it, but we know the true value comes from being Israelites. The true
Yes.
value comes from
And
worshiping and celebrating and giving our lives to the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, worshiping him in spirit and in truth. Like you guys said, educating ourselves, praying. We know that that's where the true value lies. It doesn't lie in the stars. It doesn't lie in rocks and in astrology and in graven images because they can do nothing for you. There's a limited benefit. But we know with the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, we are boundless.
Amen. Yes.
amen.
So let's continue
Amen.
on. Let's continue on, guys. Verse 3. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest. The work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers that move it not. So, guys, we can see this picture
Wow.
right here in the middle.
Mhm.
Look at this Christmas tree. We
See?
see these
Wow.
practices today. It's written right here in the verses, but we
Mhm.
see it being played out right before our eyes. What do you guys take from these two verses?
And they're also saying like they cut down the tree and they're decorating it with
Yeah.
like ornaments and gold and stuff.
They try to
Mhm.
make it look pretty, but what we
Yes.
know what those rituals really mean.
Of course.
Yes, and
And
notice in the first picture how they appear to be in a field of those trees, and that
Yes.
there's snow on the ground. So it's specifically saying that it's in the Christmas. And in the second picture, we can see the star, the silver, the gold, the lights, the ornaments, and all sorts of other things too. That is pointing towards or hinting towards that it's Christmas time.
See?
true. And I just want to point out, it's disgusting and
Yes.
sad to see, knowing from generation to generation, the parents who are teaching the children
Yes.
continuously over and over again. They're still teaching them the way
Mhm.
of the heathen, and it's even worse for some who know that they're
They
not
know,
supposed to,
right?
but they're keeping quiet,
Exactly.
choosing to not speak.
Yeah. And
Wow.
it's
That's
very
the
wicked.
stuff.
It's just very wicked to see that the parents, even not celebrating these holidays and
Mhm.
celebrating their own gods, they say, "Oh, I don't want my children to be excluded out of this, or I don't want them to look
Yes.
bad in school." And it's very sad to see because then you're disrespecting the person who you serve. And right,
100%.
I want to make another point. You
Mhm.
guys see the tree that they have a cutter that's cutting it, right? And they
Yes.
put it in the
Yeah.
house. Where's the roots? The tree is
No
dead.
roots.
The tree's dead, and they're bowing
Mhm.
down to go and get their Christmas presents, and it's just very sad because at that point you're just praising a dead tree at that point.
Exactly. And you can actually see that the tree, like whether it's real or fake, but look at the tree size from when it's cut down, right? Notice
Mhm.
Yeah.
its branches are up, but then notice in the second picture they appear to
Yeah,
be down.
down.
Lifeless.
That's
Exactly. There's nothing supporting
Lifeless.
it.
And also they like put the gifts under the tree and then
hmm
they pray to it.
Wow.
yes.
100%. They try to make these holidays look very nice. They try to adorn it, like we said, with gold and with silver
Yes.
to hide the
Mm.
true meaning. Like you said, Jesse, it is lifeless. This is a ritual of the dead for the dead. So they
hmm
know why they do what they do. And that's why they continue to bring their children into it. It's not so that the children can have fun and not be excluded. It's so that these same dead ritual practices can be carried on from generation to generation, and that the way of the heathen will never die. And that is their agenda. So we can't knock them from doing their agenda.
Yes.
But we know that as the children of the true and living God, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, we know to refrain from that because it is the ritual of the dead.
hmm
And when you
Mhm.
think about the name Santa Claus, if you break it up, it says Satan and then Claus.
hmm
Viewers, you
Wow.
heard that. You heard
Wow.
that from the mouth of
Yeah.
babes. Listen
Good
up. You break
observation there.
up
Good
Santa
observation
Claus,
there,
Satan,
Josiah.
and Claus.
And
I
what makes it actually that bad is that yes, they're enjoying it. They want to enjoy themselves behind Christmas, Halloween, the dead. But behind the scenes, there's no substance. The meaning is nothing. There's no meaning. It's
Yeah.
all in vain. So what are they actually praising to?
hmm
They're praising to the dead.
Right.
I just want to say that I don't understand why they would serve something that's not even alive. Like it's just a Christmas tree. They try to make it look nice,
Yep.
but you're serving the dead. It's not like it's alive. You cut it from its roots already.
Completely right.
Yeah. What can the dead do for you? The dead cannot bless. The dead cannot benefit you in any way. We know what the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, he can bless, he can give, he can take, he can uplift your life. What can the dead
Mhm.
do for you? It can't speak, it can't talk, it can't move. Whatever benefit it can give you is it has a limit. It has a limit. With the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, the value that he can give to you is limitless.
Of
Yes.
And
course.
and they like try to make it like look real because when you think about the elf on the shelf and you think about
Yep.
Santa Claus and
Mhm.
then they just like when they do the elf on the shelf they just move it around when it's midnight.
Mhm.
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 The
It's the
parents
same
actually
deal.
moving the elf around, guys.
It's the same
Exactly.
deal with the presents and the cookies and the milk
Yeah.
as well. It's the same deal. They just come down, take a bite, take a drink out of it, and say, "Oh look, Santa came down from the chimney."
Yeah.
And
Right.
it's amazing because we only got that much from just these few verses
Yeah.
alone. We
And
still have much more to go through.
and
Guys,
they're
Mhm.
in for
lying
a
to
treat.
their children.
Yes.
Exactly. It corrupts them, and the corruption continues to go on from generation to generation, whether they realize it or not.
Yes.
It's a great point to bring out that they do this form of adornment to kind of distract us from the real meaning. So
Yeah.
with Christmas, we see that they decorate it with lights, with put presents around it. They do Christmas carols so that it looks harmless, so that people don't dig deeper to find the actual meaning. And I
Right.
know that even growing up in school, they would try to downplay everything that had to do with the holidays.
Right.
For me growing
Mhm.
up, I would have to do like Halloween projects. During the Halloween season, we would actually do pumpkin carving in class. And they would be like, "Oh no, it's just, it's just a part of Halloween. It's just a fun thing that
Yeah.
we do." We'll just make
Mm.
jack-o'-lanterns and we'll just carve the pumpkin and something for the kids. But knowing being an Israelite and having parents who are also Israelites so that they could guide me and show me and actually teach me that, hey, this is not just fun pumpkin carving. It has to do with the season, which has
Yes.
to do with rituals, which are going along with these practices. So, what kind of activities have you guys even seen in your school that they've
I
downplayed that you've had to resist from?
and I can relate to that because one time before they were like having like some type of like partying like in the
Yeah.
cafeteria, and they were like it was like something with Thanksgiving, and they try to make it seem okay, and then it's really not though.
Mhm. I still remember the day when I was in kindergarten, like 6 or 7 years ago. I would open the top of the pumpkin where its stem is, and then I would put my hand in there, and then I'd grab out all the yucky stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
not realizing what it was. I was disgusted by that too.
Mhm.
And then
And this year, actually, this year on this year Halloween, my friend's mom, he showed me this photo, this video. There was actually a concert for Halloween, millions of people there, and then
Wow.
just out of nowhere, a bunch of them started dropping down dead, saying how they're being possessed, their soul is being possessed by the devil. And honestly, when I saw the video, I'm like, wow.
Wow.
And yet
That
and then next year they're still
Mm-hmm.
gonna be continued to
they're
doing
still gonna do it.
they're still gonna do it. We're only days away from when they do that again.
And the thing is that they lie to us, even though we say we can't do it, and they want us to respect other people. They still try to make it look friendly, like Tamar said. Oh, it's not
Mm-hmm.
about that. It's not about that. Just do this and that, and it's very sad because they try to push you, no matter how much respect you have for your culture. You know,
Yeah, they make it look lively or alive.
right?
Anyway,
And
like,
I think that's why we have to stand up for our beliefs, because if we let them tempt us into making a Christmas card or carving pumpkins, then before you know it, you're not even serving the God of Israel anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
mhm,
very important that we stay on the straight and narrow path.
Right.
That
And
was
you
a great point.
and I try to make it fun and pretty and stuff because they want to like say, oh well, it's not that, it's not because of that, it's because it's like it's fun and stuff.
you
Yeah.
practically lose the ability to speak for yourself and speak for your culture too with time.
And guys, if I can ask you another question that I'm really curious about, especially at your young ages, is that for with me growing up, sorry, with me growing up, when I was younger, we used to, like I said, we had a lot of holiday things that were incorporated in the school. And at the young age that I wasn't really vocal about telling teachers, like I would say, "Oh, no, 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 like I'm not allowed to do that or I can't do that." But of course they'd be like, "Oh, no, 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 like it's just for the holidays. It's not anything big. It's not a big deal." We used to have to like color in drawings of the turkeys. We used to have school dances that went along with Valentine's Day and Halloween dances that happened during the school hours. So if you weren't going to that school dance for Halloween, you had to stay in like a room with like a monitor and just sit in
Yeah.
there by yourself, because this was engraved in the school. Like this was a part of the school. So for me, I know that how I addressed it at that time at a young age was through my parents. I would come home and tell my mom, and she would call the teachers and she would talk to them directly. But I want to know, like, specifically, you guys can answer it after, but specifically to Shira and Jedidah, at your young ages, do you guys talk to the teachers yourselves? Or is it more of like your parents that would call in and say something? Or are you guys vocal about that at school?
Well,
Well, I kind of just like to like tell them like I can't do it, and if I can't, I'll just tell my mom and she'll handle it.
Right.
Mhm. I would do like what the last two options are. Tell them that hey, I can't do this, and then have my parents, dial them up and say, hey, can my son not participate in this?
And 99% of the time, they're not going to listen. So
Yeah.
you always have to bring your parents into it.
Yeah. That's why I'm wondering if at this age you guys address when they resist, or if it's still a parental thing. Because I know right now at my age, I have the tools obviously to address it and say, no, I actually understand the meaning behind these practices. But I know at a younger age, I wasn't able. It was typically my parents I would have to call in. So that's why I was really curious, especially you, Share. Is it more like your parents that call in, or are you guys at the age that you guys just handle it on your own?
Well, my parents would tell them like what I can't do, what I can do,
Yeah.
what I can't eat, and what I can eat. But if they ever like mix it up, I would tell them that I can and can't do it, and I would tell them why.
Okay, that's great. That's great. And it's
Mhm.
specifically to Jedidah and Shira. Another quick question before we get right back into these juicy scriptures is, do you guys have conversations about religion with your friends? So I know at this age I do, but at that age I don't really think I really told my friends what my religion was, and I think they just knew that I didn't eat pork and they couldn't really pronounce Israelite, and we would just move on. So I want to know, like, do you guys have conversations with your friends, and how do you bring it up? What do you tell them that you are?
They just ask like few questions, and I'll like try like tell them, and then I just probably end up telling them or not.
I still have sometimes difficulty like trying to justify why I don't participate in their customs and why my culture does that.
Yeah. How about you, Shira? Do you tell your friends about your religion, and what do you tell them?
I don't always bring it up, but if they ask, I
Mm-hmm.
do like give them a answer, and like for an example why we don't eat pork, and I would tell them, well, I can't eat pork because we believe that pigs are unclean, that they're not clean animals. And when they would ask, so why can't you eat this? Why can't you eat that? I would tell them and why we don't celebrate Christmas or Halloween.
Wow. So even at
Hmm.
this young age, they are educating their peers, they are teaching at their schools. They are truly wise beyond their years. So let's hop right back into these scriptures. I believe we're at verse 5. Stay with us, guys, and be active in the chat. If you like what you're hearing, drop some fire signs, drop some sevens, ask some questions. We'll answer them. Keep being engaged. Stick with us. Verse 5. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good. For as much as there is none like unto thee, O Lord, thou art great, and thy name is great in might.
Wow.
Um,
So,
I
Jesse, how do you
wanna
feel about that?
jump on there, but I want to say something. But the God of Israel is basically telling them don't like fear them, because it goes back to what we were saying about like the generations and stuff. Because it's not the child's fault; it's the parents' fault.
Right.
There, it's basically saying that don't be afraid of them because they
Hmm.
cannot do evil.
And just to jump in on what Jediah is saying, which is amazing. As young as they are, they have this much knowledge to them, which is amazing.
Well, I'm just shocked. I don't even have words.
Yeah, I'll jump in. I'll jump in too. Like, notice how in verse 5 he says that they cannot do good, but they also cannot do evil because they're already dead. They can't correct themselves, nor do incorrect as well. They're already dead. The chance for them to
Right.
be saved or come back is gone already. It's obsolete. They can't do anything, so therefore we don't get distracted by them. That's what I think that he's telling us.
Because they know they're not right in any
Hmm.
situation or form.
Exactly. They can't do good. They can't do evil. They can't do correct. They can't do incorrect. They're simply a distraction. They're dead.
Right.
Wow. Great
Here, the
points.
God of Israel, I think here the God of Israel is just saying that we shouldn't be afraid because we know what's right and we know what's wrong, and He's on our side. And like, because He's a powerful God, He'll always be there for us as long as we follow His laws and His commandments.
Wow.
Hmm. And
Wow.
notice in verse 6 that he's saying that, for as much as there is none like unto thee, O Lord, thou art great, and thy name is great in might. saying that only we know his name. The heathens and the other people who want to take part in that, they don't know the God of Israel's name.
Right.
We do.
Of course.
Yeah, 100%. These are great points, guys. Great points. From these two verses, I like how you guys really mentioned the comparison that this is dead. This is graven images, and their strength, their value, once again, cannot compare to the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. It says that he is great in might
Mhm.
compared to these dead things that once again have a limit. The God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, what he can provide is boundless, guys. It is boundless. So let's
Mm.
continue on. Verse 7. Who would not fear thee, O King of nations? For thee doth it appertain, for as much as among all the wise men of the nations, and in all their kingdoms, there is none like unto thee. But they are altogether brutish and foolish. The stock is a doctrine of vanities.
Wow.
What does that mean to you guys?
I
What it
just
makes
I
me
just feel like
like,
it just means like no matter how big, like you see people today that are very high in this world and they're still brutish and foolish and they only want is power. They don't care about us, they don't care about their people, you know? And it's very sad to see.
Because
But it says here, not none of them is like unto thee, not none of them is like the God of Israel, for he's high and mighty. He's the
And
royal
to
king of Israel.
mhm.
and to jump in on that, sorry, Jidada. This is proof that it's all in vain. They do it because they do it for enjoyment. They
Right.
do it because they want to feel good,
Mhm.
and they even like it's just sad and disgusting
Yeah.
to see.
Yeah, it's
They
just like
feel good.
sometimes those charities that they sometimes raise, like sometimes the rich people put these charities up for, this cause, but it could secretly be them just stealing away all the profit for themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't do that. We keep the boat afloat so we can do more of these teachings to provide for you guys.
Wow.
and what it means to me is like they're kind of just being selfish because they want to make themselves feel good. They don't really care about how other people feel.
Right, Jedi.
Mhm. And
It
notice
shows
how it says, oh wait, so you were saying something?
Shira, yeah.
and it shows here that no one can be compared to the God of Israel.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm.
I
And
think
notice
definitely these points about being brutish and foolish, but their rituals actually being rituals of vanities. I think that's very much shown in today's time because not many people know why they do what they do. I know exactly for my peers specifically, I would ask them, okay, like why are you guys dressing up for Halloween? Why are you going trick or treating? Why are you celebrating Christmas? Oh, like it's why do you celebrate Thanksgiving? They don't know the root behind these things. They don't know the history. They don't know why they do what they do. Oh, it's a time for giving thanks about your family. Okay. Why does it happen on this date at this time
Mm-hmm.
in this season? Okay, you do Christmas, it's for the children. But why do you have to cut down a tree and put your presents underneath it? You do
Especially in the
Halloween.
time of dark.
Yeah, you
yeah,
do
Yeah.
Halloween,
especially
but
that
why do you
time.
have to cloak yourself and go in front of houses and ask for candies? You do not know why you do what you do, but they are foolish and brutish and they just go along. They just go along with the practices and with the rituals, not knowing the deeper meaning, not knowing the history, not knowing what it's rooted in, which are rituals of the dead and satanic rituals, and they have no idea.
And that's such a good question too, because I've had my friends, they've
Mhm,
actually asked me why do they celebrate Halloween, Christmas,
mhm.
um Easter, all those types of holidays. And I said, that's a good question. Why don't you ask your parents? Because
Mm-hmm.
honestly, I don't know. I don't know the answer.
Right.
But that's a good question because their parents should know.
And
Because
many of them don't. And that's the problem
exactly,
in today's time.
Uh-huh,
it's a
exactly.
huge problem in the world, in this population. So if you don't, they serve something that they don't know of.
Jadida?
And and to jump onto that, I would like to say that one time in third grade, I asked my friend, why do you celebrate Christmas?"
Mhm.
And she said she didn't really know, and that's because her parents don't tell her the behind the story. And then when you think about Halloween, they don't know it. The kids who walk up to the door, they don't really know what they're doing, because when they knock on the door, they say trick or treat.
Yep.
And they don't know the deeper story behind all of that.
Right.
So what is the deeper story behind that? Educate the people, guys.
And in verse 8, it shows that, but they are altogether brutish and foolish. The stock is a doctrine of vanities. From what I'm seeing from there, you could gather all of the smartest minds, or everyone's minds, right, together in one and have them read the Bible, but they wouldn't know what they're reading,
Right.
or what they're hearing, or what they're
course.
seeing.
Because they only want the power and the money. They don't care about what the people want, what the people deserve and need.
Exactly. You could give them a Bible and then say, yeah, I'll have a look at this. Next thing you know, the next day, they're presenting a project of something, or talking to their employees, or whatever it might be what they do that we don't see as well.
100%, guys. And that just shows us that we are light years in front of the society today that we are surrounded with, because they just go with whatever they hear. They just go with the flow. But we know why we do what we do. We know the benefit that it has. We know the rituals that they take place in. We know the history of their holiday practices and holiday festivities. And that just shows why we need to continue to stay on the straight and narrow path and not follow the ways of the heathen. They know not what they do. They are foolish. They go with the flow, and they have,
They won't
I
fight
don't
against
know, but they're basically selling their souls and giving into practices that are satanic. Let's continue on, guys. Let's start from verse 9.
I'll read. Silver spread unto the plates. Silver spread unto the plates is brought from Tarshish, and gold from Uphaz. The work of the workmen and the hands of the founder, blue and purple is their clothing. They're all the work of cunning men. What does that tell you guys? Like,
wow.
But
They're really trying to copy us.
Blue and purple. What do we have on our flag, guys?
Blue, red, white, and purple.
Right? They try to copy us. They try to think they're us. That's why you guys said they can't say anything, because they can't do good and they can't do evil. They try to come to us, they're just gonna get exposed, and then they have nothing to say at that point.
Notice the red and white in the second picture right there. Notice the big socks right there. There's red and white, as well as on the rest of the tree, and then the blue and the purple from the cunning men that are in the clothing, trying to be like us. They're trying to copy us. They think that this is how we do things. Obviously, we don't.
They try to compete, but they do not compare.
Yes, exactly. Nor are they a competition to us as well.
Shira?
And that shows that they look up to us, because in like the Christians, they read the Bible and they think that they know what they're reading. But if the God of Israel hasn't chosen you to be an Israelite, then you're basically blind. So you think you understand the Bible, but if you're not an Israelite, then you don't actually understand the words.
Wow.
You just hear what you want to hear.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
They lack understanding.
They just want to.
Jedidah?
And they just want to hear what they want to hear, because if you go back to it, Christmas, they want to do it because it makes them feel good, and they're not thinking about why.
100%.
Right.
Think about the why, guys. Like Hosea said, ask your parents why. What is the history? Know why you do what you do. Continue on.
If we're continuing, I can read verse 10. But the Lord is the true God with a capital G. He is the living God and an everlasting King. At his wrath the earth shall tremble, and the nations shall not be able to abide his indignation. For those of you who don't know what that word means, it means anger or provoked. He's being provoked or he's angry.
And it continues, thus shall ye say unto them, the gods. Notice the capitalization is lower. The gods that have not made the
lowercase g.
Even they shall perish under the earth and from under these heavens.
And just
Notice the capitalization. You notice the capitalization when it says God, it's the God of Israel. But when it says gods, it's what the heathens think. It's what the heathens are praising themselves to, such
and
as
to
the
add on
wooden idols, the Christmas tree, and the pyramids as well.
and to
And
add on to that,
Yes.
just notice if you go to Genesis 1, it says, in the beginning, the God of Israel created the heavens and the earth. So there are other gods, yes, but our God, the true and living God, created this world, the earth,
Right.
the heavens, the waters. He made those.
Of
Jedidah?
course.
and to add on to that, it's like if someone does wrong, God of Israel's gonna start. He's gonna get mad, and then he's gonna start destroying that person.
Mhm.
Yes,
Mhm.
and when I was reading this, right, from verse 10 to 11, and it says that everlasting King, at his wrath the earth shall tremble. So picture a world-ending earthquake. And it says, "Thus shall ye say unto them, the gods that have not made the heavens and the earth, even they shall perish
And they
from
shall
the earth
perish.
and under these heavens." So the heathens, right? They made the wooden idol and they cut down the Christmas tree. They're worshiping the wooden idol, but
Mhm.
it gets crushed along with them. There's
Wow.
no one there to give it imagination. There's no one there to give it power or praises. Therefore that God is perished. It's dead.
100%. The God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob instructed us, do not worship any other gods before me. So, all the Jacobites out there who are participating in these holiday festivities, you guys are worshiping other gods. You guys are worshiping the dead. You guys are worshiping graven images. When you bow down to pick up those presents, that dead tree that you have above you, you are worshiping graven images. These are rituals, these are practices. Know why you do what you do, because you're going against what the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob has instructed us to do. So come back to your truth.
Yes,
Yes.
and it doesn't even need to be a Christmas tree or something that's dead. It could be as simple as a rock. Take the pyramids in Egypt or anywhere else. The structure itself, it's not living or dead. Sand, sandstone, and all sorts of other things. However, what it's symbolizing, like what it holds, is the reason why it gives it a graven wicked image. It
And
is a dead pharaoh. That is why they worship it. That's why they protect it with their lives.
Mm-hmm.
and
Jedidah?
There.
another
It doesn't even need to be
and,
anything living.
and another thing is that like if you obey the God of Israel, you'll live a very long and peaceful life, and you'll if you obey the laws too.
You guys heard it from Jedidah. Listen up. So, guys, let's start from verse 11 and let's take it slow.
I
11 and
can read
12.
that. Thus shall Thus shall ye say unto them, the gods that have not made the heavens and the earth, even they shall perish from the earth and from under the heavens.
Mhm.
He hath
Oh, we
made,
already read that. Yeah.
yeah,
Just
yeah.
continue.
Mhm.
It's okay, it's okay.
Yeah.
He hath made the earth by his power. He hath established the world by his wisdom, and hath stretched out the heavens by his discretion. When he uttereth his voice, there is a multitude of waters in the heavens, and he causeth the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He maketh lightnings with rain, and bringeth forth the wind out of his treasures.
Wow.
Mhm. What that tell,
How do you
what that
guys feel about those two verses?
What that tells me is that he is clearly showing and saying how far his power is, and how far his wisdom stretches above the heavens, and how far it can stretch from the earth too. He's showing his power by showing a multitude of waters in heavens, right?
100%.
Like
He's
the
created
lightning, the
everything.
rain, the clouds, the climates. He's showing his power to us,
And
right?
he created everything.
Hmm.
100%.
All the living things. That's why he's the living God.
Exactly, the one true and
100%.
living God. Good point there. Good point there.
This just
Yep.
shows us how powerful the God of Israel is as well, because it mentions him creating things, like it mentions him creating everything, like he even created us.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's
He
so
created
true. And
life.
we can go back to Genesis 1. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth.
And everything upon it.
Exactly.
And I like how it
There's
states before this that these lowercase g gods, they perish. They perish. But I like how it follows up with the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. His voice, there's a multitude of waters in the heavens, and he causeth the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He maketh lightnings with rain, and bringeth forth the wind out of his treasures. So wow, look at the comparison, guys. These lowercase g gods, they perish. They can't give you much benefit. They have limited power. But the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, he is mighty.
And
He is
when you
mighty.
think about it, you can understand when they say like little g gods because that's why it was kind of lowercase.
mm-hmm.
100%.
Hmm.
That's why you gotta really pay attention. That's why we have the eyes to see.
Yeah.
Anyone could have breezed past or brushed past that and not realize it.
Exactly. That's why we have to understand these things, to understand this book that we are reading.
Wow, great
Mm-hmm.
points, guys. Once again, guys, viewers that are listening, if you like what you are hearing, comment, share this stream with your friends, with your family, broadcast this everywhere, put sevens in the chat, subscribe,
Yes.
engage. Stay with us, guys.
Of
Mm-hmm.
Verse
course.
14.
Alrighty, I'll read 14 to 15. All right. Every man is brutish in his own knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven image, for his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. That explains it right there.
There's no
There is
breath
no
in them.
breath in what your idols like. There's no breath in them.
It's all
It's
falsehood.
lifeless.
You
Dead
shape
already.
images into these rocks or these beings or these human like things and praise them. It's dead. You
Exactly.
can't serve it anymore. It goes back to
Adding
the first commandment.
adding on to verse
No
15,
God
they
shall
are
be
all
put
they
before
are
him,
there to
Abraham,
see.
Isaac, and Jacob.
And
No
adding
God.
up to verse 15, they are vanity and they are the work of heirs. In the time of their visitation, they shall perish.
Mhm.
Or
And
Wow.
notice it says right here, and the work of heirs. It's clear it's dead. It's not alive. It's literally breaking the law. He said to not make any graven image unto him. And yet they still do that.
Of course.
Look at all these other gods that they're creating. None of them are real. None of them have any life or breath
None
in
of
them.
them.
Who
mm-hmm,
can you call God, lowercase g, if it's dead?
exactly.
Right.
There's no one there to give it the imagination and praises, like we just speculated earlier.
Mhm. And 15. They are vanity and the work of errors. In the time of their
Visitation.
visitation, they shall perish. They, they won't be here. They're gone. They're
Mhm,
weak. They just, it's like, what are we supposed to do at this point? We can't
exactly.
talk to these people. They won't listen. They're ignorant. And
Hmm.
it's just sad to see. It's wicked.
Worst of all, sometimes some of them know it and they still perish along with them.
Of course, Jesse, of course.
Wow.
Right?
Hmm.
That is great, guys. Honestly, we know now, and we have told the viewers, we have engaged with them and told them that, hey, guys, these practices, they are not stuff that we should be partaking in. But as the youth of the nation, we also know that it is very, very, very hard living in the land of the heathen and resisting temptation. We have friends outside of the nation. We go to school, we go to parties, we talk to people, we are around people, and it's very hard to hold that faith and keep your truth, and you don't want to seem like an outsider or like an outcast. You don't want to seem like the weird one. So I know that it at times can be hard, but like these babes have spoken, hold on to your truth,
Yes.
pray, understand your history, read your Bible, educate yourselves on these rituals, on these practices, so that it will be a lot easier to resist once you know exactly what is going on. Hidden in plain sight, guys.
Hmm.
And it is hard to live in the world with heathens because they try to make it seem like it's not all that, but it is.
Wow.
Yes. On verse 16, the portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance. The Lord of hosts is his name.
That's
Mm,
powerful.
The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, the God of Israel, the creator of all things.
There's a
Israel is his God,
separation.
us. We are his inheritance. We
we are
spread
his
around
people.
all the information and as well as opening other people's eyes as well and opening their ears to hear as well. The Lord of hosts is also his name. He goes by many names that he has specifically given to us, the God of
Mm-hmm.
Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob,
Jacob.
the God of Israel, Lord of hosts. Those are names that he specifically gave to us. We didn't make them up. All the other heathens out there, they make up their gods' names and
Yes,
proceed with the satanic rituals as well. He
of
gave them
course.
to us. That's the difference as well.
Hmm.
Wow,
Wow.
wow, wow. This
Hmm.
is great, guys. These are honestly great comments. Honestly, guys, continue to be engaged. If you like what you're hearing, drop some sevens in the chat, drop some fires,
Please.
share this video once again,
Hi.
subscribe. Feel free to pick our brains and ask questions of the youth of the nation. Any question is allowed, and we'll address them. So we know that it might be hard or you might be confused as to how you really keep strong and hold that faith. So we're going to go to Proverbs 3, which really gives us the tools and the elements into how we can resist these rituals and resist the influence and resist the pressure of today's time. Proverbs 3 in the scripture, it gives us all the knowledge and the tools to equip us with how to live our lives. So let's go there. Turn your Bibles
Alrighty.
to Proverbs 3.
I would love to read the two verses, all right?
Go ahead.
All right. All right. And it says, "My son, forget not my law. Don't forget it. But let thine heart keep my commandments. For length of days and long life and peace shall they add to thee."
Wow.
Jadida, would you guys like to explain
Yeah.
that? Shira?
So
So
if you follow the law, you can
Oh, Jadida, you can go first, then Shira. Sorry.
go. It's saying like if you keep the commandments, then you'll live a long and peaceful life, and it's kind of like what Moses like had to do because the God of Israel put like a commandment in his heart.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Hmm. And
Shira?
notice how it says for length of days and long life and peace, showing the effort on how it will build up. So Shira, if you will.
here it says that if you like to remember the God of Israel's laws, statutes, and commandments, and to like keep it in your heart, and you will live a very long and like happy life.
Mm-hmm. Of
Hmm.
course.
Mhm. And to
Wow.
add on to that, in verse 1, my son, forget not my law, but let thine heart keep my commandments, which means don't forget it. Your
Hmm.
heart will know. You could have certain days to pray on and just say, "Oh, I'm gonna pray and get over with this." The God of Israel will always know what your heart is feeling. So sure, you can pray, but if you're not into it 100% with your heart, then it won't mean anything.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just like you can't hate your brethren while you're praying. The God of Israel wants us in all one accord to pray to him. Friends and family, you can't hate one and then go and pray to the God of Israel.
Wow.
You
Right.
hate in your heart.
And I think
Hmm.
100% something to note, especially for the viewers in verse 1. Actually, no, in verse 2, it says, long life and peace shall they add to thee. I think we should highlight peace because definitely in
Mhm.
today's time, we can see the
Yeah.
Jacobites, they have no peace. They are in mental
Yep.
slavery. They do not
Mhm.
know, they struggle with identity of self. They don't know who they are. They're
Yeah.
always trying to find themselves in different religions, whether that be through witchcraft or Christianity. They're a lost people. They're a lost people. So I feel like peace needs to be highlighted because once you know who you are, once you know the God that you are supposed to serve, once you know the law, statutes, the commandments, the the stuff that you're supposed to follow, the rules that you're supposed to follow, that really is the key to a peaceful life. We don't struggle as Israelites. We don't struggle with self identity and not knowing who we are and insecurities. of spiritual insecurities. We don't suffer from that. We have clarity. We know the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob's name. We are able to apply ourselves. We are knowledgeable. We're able to understand the scriptures. People that do not have this, they are not living peaceful lives. And that is
Yes.
very, very, very important to even be aware of and see around you today.
And to
And
oh, sorry, go ahead, Jadada.
and that goes back to like the Christmas. They just want it because it makes them feel good. They're not actually thinking about what it can do to your life.
Yep.
And to add on to that, a great point about peace. Look at the world as we are right now.
Mhm.
Russian, Ukraine, the war that's going on, World War I, World War II, and so on. There is no peace in the world because we cannot come together and agree on things.
Exactly. It's
Why
just like
peace
the
has to be highlighted. Peace
Mhm.
is not just it's not just shaking hands and saying we're good. There's there should be an entire story behind that. Peace
But
is
it's not just the men, it's the people that are higher up, which are the
exactly
foolish and the brutish that don't know how to get along with other people.
It's just like the Tower of Babel, that there was a time where every man and woman and child in the world all had one language. It could have been English, but it is one language, and they all knew exactly what they were doing. A hive mind, if you will. And they tried to build a tower, or they got too curious to go to the God of Israel's domain. Now, what he did was he casted them down, right? And from what we speculate is that the reason why we have the different languages today is because he made it that way so that they cannot reunite again. Like Hosea said, look at the world today. Every country has beef with each other, from the smallest to the biggest. So therefore, they can't reunite.
Right.
it's all about power. That's what it is. They
Yes.
just want power. All the power for themselves. One country,
Right.
one man or woman, even child, cannot have every power. The world is too big for that. That's
Yeah.
why we
Exactly.
have to come together and make peace.
Yeah, Jose, I like that you noticed that we are not able to come together, especially Jacobites. Like, I feel like every group, whether it be Indian or whether it be the Khazars, everybody has their religion that their group follows. But specifically for the Jacobites, we are scattered. We are in every religion. There is no peace within our lives because we are striving to find something that we have, something that we as the youth of the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministry, something that we have. The Jacobites are striving to get, and that that makes us unable to come together. It makes us unable to
Mhm.
bind together and really have peaceful lives, just like the scriptures talk about. So let's continue on with reading though. Verse 3.
I'll read. Let not mercy, let not mercy and truth forsake thee. Bind them about thy neck, write them upon the table of thine heart. So shalt thou find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and men. So what does that tell you guys? What does that tell you guys?
Like,
What's that?
keep the God of Israel close.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Of course. Shira?
I think it just means try stay try to stay on the right path
Yes.
and just pray. And because if we don't pray and if we don't at least read some verses of the Bible, like even if it's once a week, then it like sometimes eventually you could come off track and you would forget about the God of Israel. But at the end of the day, our purpose of being Israelites is to spread the word about the God.
Right.
Mhm.
Wow. I'm
And
I'm
we can't
wow.
do
I'm
that if we
completely
don't
shocked.
and we can't do that if we don't stay on track.
Mm-hmm.
And to add on to that, really good point on staying on track. Because in the world we're in right now, it's so easy
It's so hard.
is for us. Sorry, us Israelite to actually get distracted.
Oh
It's that
yes.
easy. You could look one way, get distracted so easily from what you're
Mm-hmm.
focusing on right in front of you. But
Of
that's
course.
why we have to focus and understand. That's why we can't let the heathen get the better of us.
And that's
Exactly.
and that's what it
Yeah.
says in verse 3, It says, Let not thy mercy and truth forsake thee, but bind them to
Mhm.
thy neck and write them upon thy table of thine heart. Write them down if you have to, so you don't forget them. Don't forget these
Yes.
laws. Don't forget these commandments, because this is what makes you an Israelite. This is what
Mm-hmm.
makes you different than all these people and all these children that do wicked things but don't see it.
Mm-hmm. And in verse 5, trust in the Lord with all thine heart and lean not unto thine own understanding. So you must absolutely 100% trust in the God
Mhm.
of Israel
Trust,
and not
yes.
always go what you're thinking.
Right.
Like the other cultures that we have today. They're always thinking that they're doing the right thing, but
Hmm.
who actually told them to trust into them?
Right.
To
Mhm.
put,
Exactly.
you have to put faith and favor in him.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly.
That's
And to add on to that, we're using the word understand a lot. And we have to remember to the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. That's
Mhm.
first and foremost to actually read this book. And we were giving, the God of Israel has given that to us to understand, which is a blessing. That's why we praise Him.
Right.
mm-hmm.
Beautiful.
Awesome comments, guys. Awesome comments. Hold the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, his laws, statutes, and commandments. Hold them close. Walk with them. And not necessarily writing it down on a page and walking with them, but let
Hmm.
your life be led by those things. Because
Yes.
once your life is led
Sure.
in truth and in faith, and you're abiding by the law, statutes, and commandments, just like what was said in verse 4, you will find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and man. So you'll be able to understand, and you'll be able to go through life, and you won't just be lost in the wind and be blind. Your eyes will be opened. So let this lead you. Let the truth lead you. And also in verse 5 it's saying, let not, lean not into thine own understanding. So once again
Mhm.
it's telling you again, don't just trust in yourself or your
Yeah.
limited knowledge that you have. But maybe even if I even take that into today's time when I'm not sure about something, I don't just go off on a whim. I maybe say a prayer and ask the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob for clarity, for understanding what his will is, you know?
I don't want the.
Pardon?
Mm-hmm.
God of Israel comes first,
Yeah.
then everything else
Always.
comes after.
Always.
Right.
Continuing on verse 7, be not wise in thine own eyes.
Thank you
Fear
for
the
the donations.
Lord.
Thank you. Thank you.
It shall be health to thy navel and marrow to thy bones. So don't think that you're wise into your own eyes, right? Like it says right here. But always fear the Lord, right? And depart from evil. So you fear the God of Israel, right? The Lord of hosts, but love him at the same time. And
Yeah.
it's not like a constant fear where you're always worried. You have to fear him in a way that you also love him, respect him as well, and not always think that you're the smartest person in the world.
That's
Yes.
awesome. So, Cameron, thank you for the donations. And we have a question of how long have we been in Israel? Also, Thomas, thank you for the donations. But how long have we been in Israel and how did we get into Israel? So, Shira, Jedidah, how long have you guys been in
Mhm.
Israel?
Uh, I've been in Israel for 9 years.
Wow, that's a
9 years.
long time.
Hmm.
Shira, how about you?
10 years.
Wow. Jesse?
15 years, about to turn 16.
Wow. Hosea?
My feast was actually recently this year, and I'm 14 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ishakar?
Had a great time
14 years.
partying in his feast as
14
well.
years.
Yeah, I have been in the nation for 19 years, and we have all been born into the nation. So that's how
Yes.
we got it at such a young age. We're
Yes.
born into this truth, and we have grown up in the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries, practicing being Israelites.
Mm-hmm.
So, how do you motivate each other to stay on track? Well, personally, for me, I find the importance of brethren and friends. And for me, my closest relationships, fortunately, are in the nation. So I know that whenever I feel maybe like, let's say, an outcast at school, or I can't participate in all their festivities, or I'm feeling down that we're in the dark season and everybody's out celebrating and everybody's out partying, and I'm like at home knowing that I'm doing the right thing, of course, knowing that the rituals that take place, but sometimes you can't help but feeling like, oh, you're an outsider, because we really are in this land. So I find that I'm motivated to stay on track by maybe making a FaceTime call to the connections that I've made in the nation, to my friends, and saying, "Hey, are you at home too with the world partying today?" "Yeah, I'm at home too." It's good that other people are in it together with you, and that's how I'm motivated to stay on track, through my connections in the nation, through my friends, through talking to each other, and just, yeah, that's how we just motivate each other to stay on track, knowing that we're all doing it in one accord. How about you guys?
Mhm. Adding on
Um,
to that, like we all help each other out in a way that it always benefits us, and that we always remind each other as long as we keep doing good and favor into the God of Israel's eyes, we
Mhm.
will end up in the layer of heaven and have a great life.
Right.
Follow the heathens, and even knowing that is what motivates me too. It makes me happy.
Of
So,
course.
Dada, what were you saying?
I try to make the best out of it. Like,
Mhm.
if they're doing something
Yes.
that I can't do, then I just work on something different. And if they're like eating something that I can't eat, I'll just get something. Um, I'll
Get something
just,
that you can eat. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I think it's important that we share our feelings with family,
Mhm.
especially in the dark months, and even like just having a mini Bible study with your family, or
Yes.
just to the God
Mm-hmm.
of Israel can help a lot.
How I will motivate myself is with a with something bad. There's always a positive. I say it to my friends. I say it to people, and I won't say it enough. With a bad comes a positive, always. So while they're celebrating things, um, like Jesse and Issachar, for example, I'll talk to them and say, "What are you doing right now?" And they'll be reading the Bible. They'll be praying. And honestly, that's motivating because we're all doing that at the same time, one accord. There's no in between difference. We're all in this together.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. We're all fighting to get up there. We're all fighting to get to the first layer.
Right.
Another thing you can do is like if you pray every morning and you get up and say the pledge is another way.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Wow.
About
Guys,
that
if
thing
you
you
like
said,
what you're hearing, drop some sevens, drop some fires in the chat, comment, like, subscribe.
Yeah,
yeah, to
and just
declare,
leading back to oh sorry Jesse, but just leading back to Shira's point, I just do Bible studies with my family every night and make that connection with the God of Israel, make my spirit more stronger.
mm-hmm. And to clear up any confusion about what I mean by layers. So there's 7 layers of heaven, right? The God of Israel is in the top and the 7th layer. We can only go into one layer. And also, in case you're wondering if there's any layers of hell, no, there isn't. There's only just hell itself.
Mm-hmm.
Just to clear any confusion when I said layers, just to clear any confusion.
Hmm. I want to ask the panel a question.
Mhm.
For anyone in the chat room or the panel, what do you guys do while they're celebrating all these different horrible holidays that they're doing? What do you
Mm-hmm.
guys do to make
How
sure
do you
you're
guys?
doing the right thing? Keep it holy.
Yes. How do you guys motivate yourselves? We're curious
Mm-hmm.
too.
Well,
Cheers.
specifically for me, I would say that it's best at those times to stay indoors, because if you go
Yes.
to a mall,
Yes.
they're going to be playing the Christmas carols.
Yeah.
If you go
Right.
to any sort of club or any sort of outing, it's going to be themed. If you go to school, your friends are going to ask you to come out to this or to do that, or to go to Halloween haunt with them, or to go
Right.
trick or treating
Mhm.
with them. Or I've been invited to Friendsgiving a couple times. So I find that during this dark season, it is great to stay indoors.
I
Yeah.
can't even watch
Luckily,
YouTube
I
without
don't.
looking at an ad that says Christmas.
Right.
Mhm.
Just kiss my teeth and then I just switch to something else.
Stay
Exactly.
indoors, watch
Luckily,
a
I don't have
movie.
friends.
Yeah.
Luckily, I don't have friends that promote that kind of thing, and whenever I come across an ad on YouTube, I just mute it. I don't hear it, and look away, and then like wonder what I'm about to do next. And in the dark season specifically, like we don't normally have like much celebrations in the dark season, right?
Mhm.
Until New Year's and Purim, right? We have the occasional special feasts, birthdays, right? And what we're doing right now to keep holding up the mantle so that we're not falling or slipping to
Mhm.
anything. And to your question, Tina Jackson, for me, what is my greatest challenge to
Yep.
being an Israelite? It is staying on the straight and narrow path because there are so
Yes.
many different ways. There's so
Right.
many
So many different ways.
branch off like 1 inch, and it could be over for you. So
Right.
staying on the straight and narrow path and doing exactly what the God Vessel is telling you to do could be the hardest challenge of my life.
Yeah, for me
I
specifically, being in Israel. Actually, you can go Jedidah first. You can
um
go.
when it's Halloween, like you have to turn off your porch light so no one
Yeah.
thinks you're there,
Mhm.
and you can like turn it on when it's like your season and stuff.
True. I do that at my home too. When it's Halloween, I turn off the front lights so that they don't
Mhm.
come to the door. Some of
Of
them still
course.
do, but that's a
Yeah,
practice
yeah.
that
Some of them
Yeah.
still
what a
do.
bunch of us do. But
Yes.
definitely a challenge for me personally about being an Israelite. I would say definitely the influence of friends. I wouldn't say they have much of an influence, but always being, I guess, not really excluded, but kind of excluded from plans and like outings. And I know sometimes when we go out to eat, I'm the one that's going to be like, okay, what is this seasoned with? I can't have any pork.
Yeah.
What do you fry in the oil of the fries? Make sure there's no shrimp in the oil of the fries, or so I can't eat here. So I'm
Make
that
sure
friend that's
that the
going to hold
truffles
up
are cooked
the
on the same
table.
grill.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I'm going to be the friend that's going to hold up the table and ask all the questions. So I guess coming off as hard to be around is my greatest challenge being an Israelite, because I never want to come off hard to be around with my friends, or like
Yeah.
I can't go out with them, or I hold myself back from going to their outings, such as like going out to eat for dinner for their birthdays and stuff. I would like stay home sometimes because I know I'm gonna be that girl at the table. So I think that is definitely my greatest challenge being an Israelite, is definitely just how my friend's perception of me. But I know obviously in my truth that it is definitely better to be excluded while walking on the side and on the path of truth than to
Right.
be included in all their satanic rituals. So,
Of
I
course.
can definitely relate to what you just said, Tamar.
mhm,
Cause my friends, they, when we ever go out to eat, they're always talking about, oh, this jerk chicken's great, but the jerk chicken looks like pork, and it's pork, and it's
Yeah.
just so confusing. I have to ask them about
Yeah.
the oil they put in, the
yeah,
mushroom. Can you please clean the sanitizer for the pizza so there's no mushroom,
yeah,
any sauce? It's just
Yeah.
it's so that's one of the biggest challenges,
yeah,
especially since it's a big world that we are in.
With so
So
many different spices, recipes, cooks, cookbooks, so many.
exactly.
Yeah.
So
And
you got to be very careful about that.
Mm-hmm.
if they're your friend, they'll understand.
100%.
Yeah.
If they're your true friend, they'll understand, guys.
Of
I
course.
think for me, it's like the temptation, because
Mhm.
sometimes you might feel like alone because all your other friends are
Mm,
going out to do something, and you'll just like feel like you're not included. But at least we know the truth and what's right and what's wrong. And like Tamar said, I'd rather be not included
mhm.
than to go and then get to get tempted, and before I know it, I'm not even an Israelite anymore.
Yeah.
True.
Since we're kind of on the topic of food from Shira and Hosea, I remember that my dad always tells me, right? Let your mind think first before your stomach. Don't let your stomach think first as well. Yeah, I do remember one time we were on a airplane to go see my mom's relatives, and we didn't realize that there were mushrooms in the food, so we quickly stopped eating it.
Mm.
Luckily, we didn't eat any of the actual mushrooms, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So thank the God of Israel for that one.
Of course.
And
So, what you guys, what I just have a question in mind. Now that we're talking about all their holidays and how wicked they are, what are your holidays? What do they mean to you guys?
Like our celebrations or their celebrations?
I want to know what
Oh,
your
it goes right with this question. What is their favorite part of being an Israelite? Definitely
Hey.
the celebrations that we have going
Definitely.
on.
yes.
Yes, they have Christmas, they have Easter, they have their New Year's Day that only these celebrations only last for their day. They like to say that it's like a season long thing, but it really
Yeah.
only lasts a day. But for us, we have
Mm-hmm.
cycle feasts. We have Passover, which is a week we're feasting. Tabernacles, a week we're feasting. We have
Ooh,
holy days
that one.
that are rooted in truth. Our
Mhm.
our New Year's completely trumps their New Year's. We have
Mhm.
all these celebrations, and that's, I
Exactly.
guess, even what motivates us to do what we do even more, because there is actual history and knowledge and understanding and truth behind the things that we do and our celebrations that we do. And there's a lack of understanding on that side. So that is definitely my favorite part personally of being an Israelite, is definitely all the celebrations we have. Purim completely trumps their Christmas. What about you guys?
Yes.
It's like what you said about tabernacles. I did say that's my favorite month because of how we all come
Mhm.
together and enjoy a great feast. We laugh, we
Mhm.
talk
Yeah.
about specific things, right?
Exactly.
And we think about how the day is going. We get excited for the next day. Like the hype keeps going even after
Yes.
the days and before the days. And even the before day, like we have the Day of Atonement where we fast for an entire day from
Mhm.
sunset to the next sunset,
Yes.
and we pray. In that day we pray for 7 days at specific times. We sing, we dance, we talk, we pray, and after all of that, we have the 7 days of feasting. My
Exactly.
Thank you.
So for
Thank you.
anyone who's watching and who wants to participate in any of these events, come join the Israelite Nation.
mm-hmm.
Worldwide Ministries. Or come check out our website. We have lots of our knowledge in there, so you could pick up. Even take some notes. Not just listen, but take notes so you can remember and have questions. So when you come in real life. So that'd
Mhm.
be good.
Mhm.
I like
Yes.
the comment that I saw. They have holidays, we have holy days. And most of all, we have
Mhm.
the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Those are two comments that are just great because it's true. It is
Yes.
true.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's
My
get
dad,
back into the
And
verses.
also,
Oh,
Yeah.
you can go.
my dad has a
um,
friend, right? And his son is like a wide friend of ours of Issachar and Hosea, right? And to show how far like we are willing to go or how we discovered this place, right? For those who are new, right? They came all the way from Quebec, right? Where it's mostly French speaking, to come here and congregate with us in those 7 days. I still remember them.
Wow.
And they still keep in contact and touch with us too.
Shira, you
um,
had a comment?
and also I've noticed with our celebrations and their celebrations, like their events are in the dark months where nothing's alive, it's dark. But with our celebrations,
Listen up, guys.
it's summer and spring. Everything is alive. You just have a good
Of
mood,
course.
and it makes you want to go out and have a good time.
Wow.
Nice.
That's
Nice.
awesome, guys. That is really awesome. So let's get back into those verses. I believe we are at,
Verse 10.
oh, we're at verse
Mhm.
10. I thought we were.
Uh, yep. Oh wait, no, sorry. Verse 9, I think.
Yes, yes. Wait, no.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
7.
Verse 9, verse 9.
Yes,
Go.
verse
Who wants
9.
to read?
Jedidah or Shira, do you guys any of you
It's
guys
okay.
want to
I'll
read?
read. I'll read from verse 8.
All right.
It shall be health to thy navel and narrow to thy bones, and marrow to thy bones. Honor the Lord with thy substance and with the first fruits of all thine increase. What does that
Wow.
mean to you guys?
It shall be health to thy navel and marrow to thy bones. It's
Mm-hmm.
just saying it will heal you. The truth will heal you. The truth will always
Yes,
set you free. And it's
exactly.
so beautiful in how I look at my culture and when I think about it and in the scriptures and how it explains it more. And that's
Mm-hmm.
just what Proverbs is about. It's about talking to you. It's like the God of Israel is literally talking to us in our face about what we need to know about our culture. This
Wow.
just leads back to Jeremiah 10. They're both together and they're both like, just I guess a dual team, and just
Yes,
spreading out truth to everybody.
yes.
Wow.
And continuing on, like verse 10, they shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst out with new wine. Saying that when we worship him, or when we praise him, when we're with him, right, he will provide us with all the stuff that we need at the right time, the right place, the right day, and whenever you need it. He will always provide for us, always protect us, always be there for us, bless us, give us knowledge, strength, understanding, and power. Will always be there for us, and that's why we never forget him.
Wow. Put fires in the chat for Jesse right there.
Yeah.
And honestly, I like that you mentioned Issachar, like the comparison or the alignment with Jeremiah 10 and this, because Jeremiah 10 is talking about their ways of vanities and how foolish they are. And it's basically telling us to, hold on to our faith and to worship the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. But in Proverbs 3, it really tells us the value. It tells us the value in serving the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, and basically what we will benefit from that. So this entire chapter is basically explaining how are we going to benefit from serving the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. So let's continue reading that.
I can read verse 11 to 12.
Go ahead.
My son, and by son he means the Israelites.
Yes,
are
thank you.
his
Thank
children.
you for pointing that out.
So, my son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, neither be weary of his correction. For whom the Lord loveth, he correcteth, even as a father, the son in whom he delighteth.
Wow. What
See,
does that mean to you guys?
as I said before, with a bad, with punishment comes a positive. You learn from that. And that's exactly, if the God of Israel giving you a punishment, you don't talk back saying, "Oh, I didn't do this. Oh, he did it. He did it. It's not my fault." You
Right.
don't argue. You just deal with it, and he still loves you. He's not gonna talk back. He could snap his fingers and you'd be gone. You're so gone. So
Yeah.
that's why. That's exactly why.
Shira, did you have
So,
something to say?
Yeah, I think here it means that if the God of Israel really loves you, then he would correct you from your mistakes.
Of course.
And that's why we know the truth, because if he loved the whole of the world, then all of us would be Israelites.
Right, and he does, but people are just ignorant to what they see and what they hear.
Right.
You know? And you can't get the whole world. Like Tamar said, if you don't want to join this Israelite culture and if you don't want to listen, you don't have to. But we're still going to spread our knowledge and see our truth and for what it is. And I want you guys to answer a question for me. Why were we in the 400 years?
That's a very good question.
The punishment was received from the punishment was received from our forefathers that did wickedness and was given to the God of Israel because of all the stuff they did. What they did was over and over, right? Was they worshipped another god, and then they were punished or put into slavery, and then they went back to the God of Israel and said, "Okay, we're sorry, we won't do this again." So he forgives them, right? But they take it for granted. Again, they do the same thing. Repeat that for I don't know how many more times, but repeat that, and you won't believe how many times that they did that. And that's the reason why we were put into slavery, right?
They just wanted more and more and more. They
wanted more and more and more and more.
And even to this day, some of us still are. If not, we all are. We always want more. That's why we were put in slavery for 400 years. That was our punishment.
We were put in ships and brought to Egypt, and we were whipped and lashed and tortured. You know, there was lots of gruesome stuff that I can't really get into, but it was gruesome stuff that happened to us when we were there. And look,
we learned from it.
You know, look where Moses brought us.
But this punishment was because we forsook our God.
Yes.
It is purely based off of disobedience. Disobedience, worshiping graven images, going against his laws, his statutes, his commandments, turning our back on the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob time and time again, always asking more of him, but never really giving ourselves.
Not giving ourselves.
Yeah. The relationship with the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob is not conditional. It is it's not unconditional. It is conditional. We have to give in order to receive. We cannot just continue to take, 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 take. And that's what they wanted to do in those times. They wanted to worship other gods. They wanted to go against the God of Abraham, God of Isaac, and God of Jacob, but they still wanted to be loved by him, but they still didn't want to be punished. So because we forsook our God, we got 400 years of slavery.
Uh-huh.
And here
Exactly.
today,
Even
the Jacobites are forsaking the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Again, participating in these holidays and these festivities is going against our God.
exactly. We even discussed the New Year's the last time me, Ishikara, and Hosea did a collaboration. We
Yes.
discussed the New Year's on that one and the 400 years too.
Mm-hmm.
So tune into that lesson too, guys, if you haven't seen it.
All right.
Continuing on the verses. Where were we?
We are at verse 13. I'll read.
Okay.
Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. So it just says there, the man that findeth, the man that goes outside of his circle, goes outside of his comfort zone and finds truth, will be happy and live long life. His life will proceed to have long days. And it's just beautiful on how explaining what happens if you find truth, what happens if you go and look for the wisdom.
Continuing on like verse 14 and 15. For the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof fine gold. She is
Right.
more precious than rubies, and all the things thou canst desire are not compared unto her.
Wow. Can you imagine that? You know how rare rubies are to find?
Rarer than diamonds, that's for sure.
And silver, fine gold, and rubies. Understanding is way more than that.
Of course. And Jedidah and Shiro, what does it mean by she is more precious than rubies and all things?
To me, this is basically talking about she's more like valuable.
Which is, and she is wisdom. That's what they're using as a metaphor. She is wisdom and the truth and the
Exactly.
knowledge.
She and her
Yes,
in this,
metaphor.
the metaphor for wisdom and understanding.
Of
He,
course.
which is happy, is the man that's trying to find that, is trying to find her.
100%. Once you obtain this knowledge, it is way more precious, way more valuable than material things. We get long life, we get peace. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, he can bless beyond measure.
Yes.
He can benefit your life in every way.
Exactly,
It's
like
way
Hosea
more
said
than
about the
rubies and
rubies.
gold.
Sorry.
Continue,
But-
Jesse.
Like Hosea said about the rubies, how rare they are.
Yes. Of course.
And I'm just gonna read verse 15 again, but instead of she and her, I'm gonna switch it to understanding and wisdom.
Okay.
Understanding is more precious than rubies, and all the things thou canst desire, and are not to be compared unto wisdom. That
Wow.
is much clearer. It's showing wisdom and understanding and knowledge is much more than it actually is.
Right.
Again,
like
the
Much
ICT.
more than that.
Sorry.
It's
Continue
okay.
going.
It's okay. But I like how Hosea explained how he broke down wisdom, because there's lots of metaphors in the Bible and how they explain it. And it's so beautiful when you get it. It's like, oh, wow, really? I didn't know it meant that, And it's just beautiful. It's beautiful.
It's
I
like
love the comment that I just saw. Wisdom is priceless. Jesse?
Right.
it's like what we said earlier that someone could go for the Bible and read over it, except they want to understand because they don't have the eyes to see and the ears to hear. Anyone, again, like I said earlier, anyone could have read that. Anyone could have said she is more precious than rubies, and all the things thou canst desire unto not to be compared unto her. Anyone could have read through that without realizing what it means.
Right. Of course.
Mm-hmm.
16.
Continue.
Yeah, 16. Length of days is in her right hand, and in her left hand, riches and honor. Wow. And I guess we could put it in the wisdom and knowledge as her, but it just talks about how they both have riches, but you also have more than that, which is wisdom and
And
knowledge.
honor.
Exactly.
And this kind of leads back to Solomon when he had his dream, and he asked for the judgment of his people to have that in the wisdom and knowledge, and not just what he wanted the God of Israel to hear, but the God of Israel saw it in his heart that he really wanted that, and what he received afterwards was riches and golds, which is very beautiful. It's just amazing.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And continuing in verse 17, her ways are ways of plentifulness, and all her paths are peace. She is a tree of life to them that they lay hold upon her, and happy is every one that retaineth her.
You know how many times it says she and her?
Hmm.
Remember, she and
Wisdom and
her is a
understanding.
metaphor of understanding and wisdom. And I'll
Yes.
put knowledge to that too. So that's just the beginning of it. There's so much more.
And I think it's good
Yeah,
to point out in verse 16 that when it talks about riches and honor, that it's very important to highlight that because we spoke about, the ways of the heathen and how, they have limited benefit of what they can attain. They do attain riches. We see that today, that the heathen do attain riches, but the ways in which they obtain these riches lacks in honor. It lacks in
Mhm.
honor and it lacks in truth. And that is something that we have as Israelites.
Hmm.
here
Mm.
it shows
Kira?
that wisdom and knowledge and understanding is so important, and um people that have wisdom, knowledge, and
Mhm.
understanding, like us Israelites, are very blessed because the rest of the world think they're doing the right thing. Like, oh yeah, Jesus was born on the 25th of December, and they think that it's the right thing, but really, that physically they're blind.
Yes.
They don't know the truth, and we're just very and I just want to say that we're very blessed that we have the understanding and that we know what's right and wrong.
Amen. Amen. Thank
Mhm.
you, Cheryl. Jedidah, do you have anything to say?
No, I just think I can agree with Shira.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's okay. Thank you.
Guys, if you like
It's
what you're
beautiful.
hearing,
Yeah.
sevens in the chat, fires, like, comment, share, subscribe, and please continue to be engaged. We have 30 minutes left. Bear with us. Stick with us, guys.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay. What verse were you on? I kind of lost track.
We ended at verse 18. We're now starting verse 19.
Thank you, Jesse. All right. The Lord by wisdom hath founded the earth. By understanding hath he established the heavens. By his knowledge the depths are broken up, and the clouds drop down the dew. So he made the earth by understanding. Again, that word, that's a key word in this book. Entire
Hmm.
book, not just one part,
Mhm.
not half of it. The
Exactly.
entire book. Continuing, my son, let them not depart from thine eyes. Keep sound wisdom and discretion. Verse 21 and verse 1 from chapter 3, they're both similar. I read verse 1.
Notice they start with my son, talking specifically to the Israelites, us.
Exactly. He's saying again in the same chapter to not forget that. Don't forget the laws or commandments.
Mhm.
From verse 22, so shall they be so shall they be life unto thy soul and grace to thy neck. Then shalt thou walk in thy way safely, and thy foot shall not stumble.
This is literally just like the three
Mhm.
top verses. This is beautiful. Beautiful.
Yes,
Explains it there.
It shows that you
exactly.
will
Exactly.
not waver. This truth, guys, honestly and truly, it grounds you. It grounds you and it keeps you on the straight and narrow path. You won't stumble, you won't waver in the wind like you see people outside doing. You won't waver like your friends that are just going with the flow, not
Hmm.
knowing the history behind what they do. We
Hmm.
are grounded in this truth. This truth grounds us and provides us with knowledge and understanding and wisdom. As you can see from the mouth of babes, wise beyond their years, truly grounded, and they have true freedom. No mental slavery over here, but true
Yes.
freedom. And You can go ahead, Jedidah.
And to me, it really means like when you come into Israel, you're not unsure. Like you come with like a mindset that I'm coming here to learn the truth and stuff. And to me, that part where he says he's like to not stumble is like you don't be undecided when you want to come to Israel.
Yes.
Wow.
For me,
Awesome point.
this means that if if we have faith in the God of Israel and if we pray to the God of Israel, like we praise him, then he will be with us, he'll protect us, he'll guide us on the right path. Like where it says, and thy foot shall not stumble, it means like we will stay on the right path.
Wow.
Yes, of course.
Awesome point. Awesome
Great
point.
point. From verse 24, when thou liest down, thou shalt not be afraid. Yea, thou shalt lie down, and thy sleep shall be sweet. And continuing from verse 25, be not afraid of sudden fear, neither of the desolation of the wicked when it cometh. For the Lord shall
Hold
be
on,
thy...
pause there, pause there, pause there. So if we're just going off of those verses, be not afraid of sudden fear, neither of the desolation of the wicked when it cometh. So I think that is very powerful. So fear not, basically, it's saying, fear not, because we have the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob on our side. There is
Yes.
more with us than there is that is with them. It might
Yes.
look like what out meets the eye, like they have numbers, but trust and believe that with us, there is plenty, 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 plenty more. Fear not, because the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and God of Jacob, like we have spoken about, he is mighty. He is powerful. There's nothing that can compare. So I know, for example, with me in life, I know that there's man-made things that may make me fret. But I know that if I say a prayer to the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, I'll be delivered. There might be an exam. Have no fear. Pray into
Yes.
the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. There might be people that are against you or against the truth that you're in. I may want to hurt you for that, or may want to go against you for that, or kind of weaken your life in any way. With the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob on your side, no man can come against you. Putting him first, nothing can come against you.
Amen.
So
It's
I think that's
untouchable.
really key to highlight.
To me, this means like when you read like verse 24 and 25, it's like don't be afraid, because it's like to me it's like if you die you can like sleep with your fathers and stuff.
Yeah.
Hmm?
That's a very good point.
Very good point.
Yeah, when they die, it's an end, guys. When they die, it's an end. It
But
is an
when
end, but our life can continue and can be peaceful. And it's not an end. It's not an end, but we can continue. We can be peaceful. We can continue to live our afterlives in truth, in this doctrine. With them, it's dark after. It's very dark after.
because when we do it we sleep with our fathers, and it's just kind of saying like when you like sleep when you sleep it shall be sweet, and that means like you're
It shall
sleeping
be
with your
sweet.
forefather.
And this just proves that if we praise the God of Israel and if we have faith in him and we trust him, that he'll always be with us.
Wow. Put fires in the chat for that. Fires
Yes.
in the chat. If you like what you're hearing out of the mouth of babes, put fires in the chat. Drop some sevens. Feel free to keep asking questions if you would like. We would love to address your questions. Anything, you can pick our brains if you want. But if you're loving what you hear, like, comment, share, subscribe, and bear with us. Anyone, you
I
can
can
read
read up
something.
until verse 28.
Mhm.
So starting from verse 26. For the Lord shall be thy confidence, and shall keep thy foot from being taken. That just adds on to verse 24 and 25 that we just read. He will still be with you, even in the afterlife.
Yes. Like there is no end. There's only new beginnings.
Of
Wow.
course.
Nice way of putting it.
Verse 27. Withhold not good from them to whom it is due, when it is in the power of thine hand to do it. Say not unto thy neighbor, Go and come again, and tomorrow I will give, when thou hast it by thee. What
Let's
that's
pause
saying,
there. Yeah.
what that's saying is when you can, if you have a gift for someone and you can give it now, don't give it. Don't wait to give it
Yeah,
to them tomorrow and tell them to come back today.
yeah,
Give it to them now, and they'll literally, I can't even put it to words.
yeah.
It's
It's
just,
just
100%. 100%. I feel like it definitely means honor thy neighbor. And that doesn't mean your physical neighbor at the
Yeah.
house beside you. It means your brethren. When you
Mm.
are brethren unto each other, when you are all Israelites, treat your brethren with honor. If I have to give, I'm not going to tell you to wait till tomorrow or
of
be
course.
selfish or think that I'm above you. I'm going to be selfless because we are a family. And
Mhm.
I'm going to put other people first.
Right.
Not your physical neighbors, guys, but your brethren.
Mhm.
Of course. I like how you guys broke that down. Just love it because at the end of the day, who's gonna be there for you? Your neighbors, right? And at the end of the day, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob will always be there watching and waiting for you.
And that's kind of like one of the laws, like to not like be mean or rude to your
Hmm.
brethren.
Of
That's
course.
an
Mhm.
awesome point.
Because
Wait, what were
jealousy
you
is
saying?
not a good thing,
Mhm.
and like because they're our family, they should like we should all be there for each other because united we stand and divided we fall. If we don't stay together, if we're not united, then in other words, we're not a family. We're just a bunch of people that don't like each other, and
Right.
we just have to try our best to stay united and to spread the word about the God of Israel.
Mm.
Wow.
Continuing on verse 28. Oh, sorry. Verse 29. Devise not evil against thy neighbor, seeing he dwelleth securely by thee. Strive not with a man without cause, if he have done thee no harm. So what does that tell you
Okay.
guys? Verse 30. Like I feel a
So
little something about it, but just trying to pinpoint what it is. Strive
I
not with a
think
man
definite.
without
Oh, you
cause.
can continue.
Strive not with a man without cause, if he have
Mhm.
not done thee no harm.
So once
Wow.
again, this is not about strangers. It's
Hmm.
to
Yes.
Mhm.
point out it's not about strangers, it's about your brethren, your fellow Israelites. Don't have hate in your heart for your brethren. Don't have problems with your brethren and it's uncaused, unprovoked. Always
Hmm.
try to get peace with your brethren. Always try to be at one accord with your brethren. Always try to have common ground with your brethren. You might not have the strongest relationship with all of your brethren, but there should be honor, respect, love. There should be the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, his ways and his truth at the forefront of all the connections that you have in Israel.
Of course.
And that should never be hate in your heart towards brethren because, like Shira said, we'd be divided if we all had hate in our heart towards each other.
Yeah.
Divided we fall, together we stand.
Right.
I really
Yeah.
like that point.
Yeah.
Shia.
I love the point that you guys just broke down. We can't hate each other because if we hate each other, like I said already, we can't pray in one accord. And the God of Israel doesn't like that, and the God of Israel won't accept that because at the end of the
Mhm.
day, like I said, we're gonna be there for each other. We need to love each other because we're going to have to fight our battles one day. You know.
100%. We are stronger together. So we need to fight these battles. I can't fight these battles on my own. Ishakar can't fight these battles on his own. We need the strength of our brethren, of like minded people.
Mhm.
100%.
They
So
all
I
have
think
the
that's
same knowledge and beliefs and
100%.
understandings,
And
and
that
that can
just goes
always
back to peace.
motivate
'Cause you
each
can't.
other.
Oh, sorry. Go
Sorry.
ahead. Okay. Uh, that goes back to peace because you can't stand together in hate. You have to stand together in one accord. Find peace. That's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great point. That's a great point. So we're also going to go to Psalms 115. if everybody wants to turn our Bibles there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you guys a second to turn there. Let me know if everybody's there.
Psalms 15?
115.
115.
115.
Oh, 115.
Okay. And let's start with the first verse. We're only going to go from like 1 to 9.
Okay.
So I'll start with reading the first verse. Not unto us, O Lord, not unto us, but unto thy name give glory, for thy mercy and for thy truth's sake. Wherefore should the heathen say, where is now their God? So
Wow.
what does that mean to you guys? What did you guys get from that? If you want me to reread it, tell me to reread those two verses and I'll reread it. But
Go
what
ahead.
did you guys
Go
get
ahead.
from
I loved how it said it.
reread it? Okay. So not unto us, O Lord, not unto us, but unto thy name give glory for thy mercy and for thy truth's sake.
Mm,
Wherefore should the heathen say, where is now their God?
wow.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
Wow.
What did you guys grasp from that? What do you think it's trying to say?
I feel like it's just saying that the Israelites are saying we should give glory to the God of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Just give back because he is the true and living God. And at the end of the day, when we have won our battles and the heathens are there just sitting, they're going to know that they have no power. Where's their God? Like it says right here, you
Mm-hmm.
know? It's just very like soothing to my ears and how it sounds.
I think definitely an answer to what these two verses are saying is verse 3. It says, but our God is in the heavens. He hath done whatsoever he pleased. So I think it's definitely good to see that today because people like to say, where is your God? You guys can't see your God because we're not making graven images out of our God. We're not
Mhm.
painting him white with straight hair and putting him up on our wall and saying, that's God. We're not creating idols or bowing down to trees. People like to say, oh, you have a God? I can't see him. But we know that our God is powerful. His power doesn't come from showing man his face or from walking on the streets with us. His power comes from being wherever he please in the heavens and doing what he has to do. His might is not at what meets the eye. His might comes from our faith, comes from our belief, comes from us following the law, statutes, and commandments. Our God is not graven images that can't speak, can't talk, can't bless, that have limit power.
Yes.
Our God is limitless, is boundless, and people like to, make judgment of that, but it's because they lack the understanding. They lack that understanding.
Of course.
To,
Amen.
to me, it's like the God of Israel destroyed their God, and they're like, well, where's our God now?
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Angry about that.
Beautifully.
Yes, he is a true and living God, not the
And
God of the dead, not the graven images that are
and
not the tree that you cut down from its roots and now
Not
it's
the
lifeless.
pyramids, not the idols, not the
and
turkey, not
Right.
anything.
Right.
And when you think about it, if they say, "Well, where's your God?"
Mm-hmm.
When because they say that is because when you think about it, it's like, well, they make their God with like materials and they make
Yep.
them by themselves, but our God is you can't see our God because he's real.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly. We're one culture that's different. We have a God that we don't need to show, right? We're not forcing people to come to our culture. And it's always your choice whether you want us to come in or not. We're different from all the other ones.
Yes, of course, Jesse.
All right, let's continue on with verse 4. Their idols are silver and gold, the work of men's hands. I'm going to read that again for people in the back.
Wow.
Their idols are silver and gold, the work of men's hands. They have mouths, but they speak not. Eyes have they, but they see not. They have ears, but they hear not. Noses have
Wow.
they, but they smell not. Your God has no power. Your graven images have no
Mhm.
power.
No.
Exactly.
They are lifeless.
All of
What can
these,
the
you can have
dead
all
do
these.
for you?
You can have all these on your face: the eyes, the mouth, the nose, the ears.
Mhm.
But you can't. You still can't see
But
it.
you have no
You
life,
hear
but you
it,
have no
smell it.
power.
Of course.
Exactly.
And it says the work of men's hands.
Right.
Exactly.
Fabricated. material things.
Wow.
It's been made by the cunning men that we spoke about earlier,
Yes.
not the God of Israel.
And it's like when they try to do all these tests on stuff and try to like make stuff, that's what it basically is, because God of Israel made all the animals, but you trying to put them together and make something different is just people making it.
100%. I like the comment that I saw that said that they make their gods out of materials, but not yeah, they make their gods out of materials that our God has made. He's the creator of all things. So really think about, how does that power compare? If our God's the creator of all things and you're using materials to create your God, it can't compete where it doesn't compare.
It
It
can't.
cannot compete where it doesn't compare. So let's
And
continue
that's
on with the reading. Oh, continue, Shira.
why they're called the gods of the dead, because they're not alive. They can't see, they can't hear, they can't smell, they
Right.
can't even talk. But our God, He has blessed us, and like it just shows that He's alive, because when we pray to Him and He answers our prayers and He answers the things that we ask for, that just proves that He's alive.
Yes.
Wow.
Wow. I'm shocked at what I'm hearing by these two.
I'm
This is
completely
wisdom,
speechless.
guys. At such a
This is
young
a great
age,
this is a great first impression for them.
wisdom.
That's
If you
just how
like what
nation
you
is.
hear, fires in the chat, sevens in the chat, like, comment, share, subscribe, stay engaged with us. This is out of the mouth of babes, the future
That's
leaders of the Israelite nation, worldwide ministries. I think we're in good hands, guys. I think we're in good hands.
this nation has just so many
Mhm.
brilliant young minds. I can't wait until the future. Like, it's just amazing.
Continuing on to
Verse
verse
7.
7. Yep. They have hands, but they handle not. Feet have they, but they walk not. Neither speak they that through their throat. They make that them they are sorry. They that make them are like unto them. So is everyone that trusteth them.
All right,
Like
so pause there.
have them.
So I'm saying that they are very limited. They can't speak, they can't talk, they can't walk. Their hands can't do anything. They can't bless, they can't take, they can't give you an abundance of life. They can't give you a peaceful life. They cannot give you honor and riches and glory. They cannot give you
Wisdom, knowledge,
celebration.
What
understanding.
could they
Yeah, they
possibly
can't give
do
you
with
knowledge,
nothing?
understanding. So if you're worshiping something that can't give you any of those things, you become exactly like that. You become limited. And that's exactly what, again, is going on in the world today. We have
Yes.
Jacobites that are doing these rituals, that are participating in in these holidays. And then they are wondering why they are frustrated. They are wondering why they don't have direction. They are wondering why the world is against them and they are in chains, literally chains and shackles in the jail systems. They are wondering why they are being targeted. They are wondering why they can't achieve anything in life or dream big. They're wondering, because you are doing these rituals, because you are not coming back to your truth, because you're worshiping these idols. So how can you achieve greatness?
It's
How can you come
question
out of
after
that mental
question.
slavery?
Sometimes they like cut certain parts of themselves for sacrifices too, like from eyes to the rest of the body parts as well, and the organs as well too.
100%.
This is what they sacrifice in rituals. This is what they do.
To
So
me, what it means is like when they say they have feet but they walk not, is like when they were choosing their gods, and they have feet but they chose not to walk the true way of the path.
And I
100%.
feel like that just
I agree.
when it says feet but they don't know how to walk, if not like that, right, it I feel like it just explains how they act. They don't know how to properly act. They don't know how to talk properly to one another. They don't know how to walk properly. They don't know how to say
How to do
stuff.
all of these tasks properly.
Right.
Because of the rituals that they partake in and because of the graven images that they worship. So we can't expect anything better from them, guys. Like, honestly, we have to give them grace, because we can't expect anything better from them if that's what they're worshiping. If they're giving their lives to these graven images that cannot do any of these things, we cannot be
Exactly.
surprised at the outcome of them not being
It's
able to do
not
these
great.
things either. Right.
Exactly.
Exactly. They can't do good, they can't do evil, they can't be correct, or nor can they be incorrect. Already dead.
Exactly. And that's why we keep teaching. And those who want to hear and listen and open their ears can come here and listen. That's why we're
And
here,
take part in
even as
person
young
too
as
in
we
the
are.
congregation.
So let's read the last verse, guys, because I feel like it really just wraps it all up. So the last verse is, O Israel, trust thou in the Lord. He is their help and their shield. So just like what
Wow.
we said, there's a bunch of graven images that cannot do a thing. But at the end, O Israel, not talking to the world, but talking to his children, the Israelites. Trust thou in the Lord. In Proverbs 3, we just understood the value of
Yes.
believing in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob and following in his law, statutes, and commandments. We found the value in that. We saw the benefit. We saw that it's greater than any material thing. And now we're seeing that they worship graven images, they participate in these rituals, and they are limited. But once again, it wraps up saying, "O Israel, trust thou in the Lord. He is their help and their shield. He's our help and our shield." And I feel like that's the best way that it can be put.
Our
Yes.
sword and shield is the Bible. It
Mm-hmm.
100%.
protects us, blesses us, gives us knowledge, strength, understanding, guidance, and all sorts of things. That's
Wow.
all what we need in here.
Well,
Wow.
guys, we have 4 minutes left. So I want everybody that is participating today to like, comment, share, subscribe, spam the comments with seven, spam the comments with fire signs, share this to
Line it
everybody
up.
you can think of. And honestly, guys, we're going to say our final closing statements. If you have anything just to wrap up the entire lesson of what we've spoken about, what do you want to leave the viewers with? Jesse, do you want to go first? Closing arguments, closing thoughts?
For my closing, right, I'd
Mm-hmm.
like to say thank you all for coming here, for taking time out of your day and spending the 2 hours with us, discussing with us, questioning with us, reading with us, going along with us. We're grateful that you've come here to take a part of your day and congregate with us as well.
Mm-hmm.
Shira?
I just want to say thank you all for listening. And as an Israelite, I'm very grateful that I know the truth and that we all know what's right and what's wrong. And yeah, peace.
Peace. Judida?
Just like have faith and believe in the God of Israel and trust in him and acknowledge him and don't walk in the path as the heathen, be a leader, not a follower, and peace.
Peace. Hosea?
Honestly, I'm very happy I was able to come back again and teach to the world. For everyone who's listening, thank you so much for coming. I hope that you guys can come into our nation and feast,
Mm-hmm.
serve with us the same God. And Jadida and Shira, I'm so happy you guys came on. You guys made some really good points. You guys did really amazing on this lesson. I'm really happy about you guys. Peace.
Drop some fire signs in the chat for everyone. Issachar?
Oh, I'm just very proud and honored to be here. I thank you guys for bringing me. I had a great time with my fellow brothers and sisters. Like Hosea said, Shira and Jadida, you guys were on point today. I'm so surprised that you guys came and you guys weren't nervous. You guys felt free to speak your mind. And to the people in the chat, thank you for the donations. Thank you for the fire signs, the sevens. And I hope I can see you one day at the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries.
Wow.
Peace.
Awesome. Guys, I am so honored to host today's lively discussions with the youth of the nation who are once again born and raised in this truth, born and raised in the Israelite nation, worldwide ministries. Honestly, they are wise beyond their years. I hope you guys really took in the treat that you got today.
Yes.
Thank you for picking our brains.
Mhm.
Honestly, we do go through trials and tribulations. It's not all fine and dandy walking on this side and on this path of truth, especially living in a land that is not our own. But we hope we gave you some tools to go out in the world and conquer as an Israelite and to represent our culture well. We hope we gave you some comfort. We hope we educated you today. We hope you learned something new today. And we hope you really enjoyed. Once again, thank you for supporting us. Like, comment, share, subscribe. If you would like to join the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries, join the link in the bio. And I hope you guys enjoyed today. So thank you so much.
and I hope you guys savored every second of it. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.